what's going on, friend? It's Barry E. Knight. I want to take this time to welcome you to the leadership class coaching session. Now, before I get into today's teaching, do me a favor and click the link below, the subscribe button below, so that you'll know when other videos like this, teaching videos, are made available. You can get access to other videos that I've already recorded on leadership to help you become the leader that people love to follow and achieve great things with. Now, today is an extremely important topic that I hope that you'll grab a pen, a pencil, get something to take notes with, your smartphone, your dumb phone, whatever it is that you take notes with. There's a lot of information. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be looking down, reading some notes because I don't want to miss anything and I want to make sure I stay on track. So please, again, make sure you're taking copious notes. We're going to talk about communication, executive leadership, or executive leader level communication. More specifically, today's topic is simply entitled The Weight of the Leader's Words. So if you're taking notes, go ahead and write that down, the weight of the leader's words. So I want you to imagine a time that you've been in a room with your team, with your executive team, your directs, or maybe with the people who work in your organization. And you were talking, you were sharing something, you were giving some information, and everything was going great. But all of a sudden you said something and it felt like maybe the energy in the room just kind of left, like Elvis, right? Elvis left the building. The energy, the motivation, the momentum just left the room. And somehow some type of tension, you felt tension between you and your team as you were speaking, and you're kind of rolling back and rewinding while you're still talking, and you're thinking like, what in the world did I say? I don't even know what I said. You're trying to trace back every word, every statement, your body language. You're kind of filtering this in your mind as you're thinking, and you don't even know what you really said or how they received it. You just know that something shifted in the room and it's not the same anymore. And maybe you didn't mean for it to land that way, but for whatever reason, it did. And that's what I'm going to share with you, and we're going to talk about. That's what today's teaching lesson is going to be about, is the weight of the leader's words. And we're going to unpack the weight, the power of your words as the leader, as the executive leader, or the senior manager within your organization. So I want to share with you, again, the weight of the leader's words. That's what we're talking about, the weight of the leader's words. And I want to talk about how you communicate to your team, how to use words with intention, how to align those words with your mission and your values, and then how to ensure that the words you're speaking are actually creating the kind of impact that you actually want. A lot of times we don't really think about what we're saying, we just communicate. And the truth is that our words carry weight. Again, if you're taking notes, write this down. My words as the leader carries weight. And oftentimes more than we realize. We don't even realize oftentimes how weighty or how heavy our words are. Now listen to this. Our words don't just communicate information. They literally shape mindsets. Our words influence decisions and actions. Our words influence how people show up, how people act, perform, and even react and interact with others. Our words impact performance and what people feel they're capable of doing. That's right. Our words as leaders, executive leaders, your words as the leader with your team and the people that you're serving, when you communicate, you're literally not just giving information, you are giving them a thought of how things should be done. You are communicating even the culture, the organization's culture comes out of your words and how you share things and communicate things with the people that you lead and serve. So understand this concept and write this down. The higher your position in the organization, then the heavier your words become. The higher your position, the heavier or even the weightier your words. I want you to look at my hands. It's like there's 1,000 pounds in it. And understand that. I want you to feel that as the leader of the organization that you're leading, that depending on what level you are on, people receive your words differently and the words land with them differently. So we want to make sure that as we're communicating, that our words land with the people and not on the people. So again, write that down. Make sure your words as the executive leader land with the people and not on the people. Now, here's the ultimate challenge. Most of us, now we talk about communication all the time. We go to conferences, we've read books, we've watched videos on communication, how to communicate influentially, how to communicate with impact and intent, all that good stuff. But we don't always understand and slow down long enough to think about how our words are landing or even shaping our teams. We communicate, but we don't always understand that our communication is actually causing our team to show up in a way, good or bad. So, because as the leader, what you say doesn't just disappear. This is so good. Listen to this. As the leader, what you say doesn't just disappear, it stays with people. Oh my gosh, please understand that. The words that you speak as a leader, after you leave the room, your words didn't leave with them, with you rather. Your words are literally right there with the team, and the team or that individual has to now process what you're saying, what you meant, what was your intent, and what that means in terms of what you expect from them. So again, go back to that first question that I asked before. Do you remember a time when you communicated to your team and it seemed like something shifted, or maybe you said something and they didn't get done exactly what you know they can do, and you're wondering what's wrong with them? Their performance is not where I know it should be. I don't understand why they're not getting it done like I know they can. I hired them to do this. And then you start thinking it's another thing, but not really understanding how your words and how your communication or how you phrased something or communicated something really impacted how they received what you said or asked them to do. And if you've been in leadership for any extensive period of time, maybe even over 3 years, I would guess, I can guarantee you that one of, if not the greatest leadership growth area that you've ever had was in the ability or the way or the manner in which you communicate. And if you are just getting started in leadership, I can tell you over the next 3 to 5 years, one of your greatest growth areas, absolutely bar none, is going to be how you communicate to the people that you lead and serve, how you communicate to individuals, how you communicate to your teams. So as leaders, when we communicate, our communication and our words are flowing in one of two directions. They're either building people up or they're tearing people down. And so again, take a note on that. Our words are flowing in two directions. They're either building people up or they're tearing people down. They're either inspiring, we're either encouraging, influencing a greater performance and creating confidence, or our words are bringing discouragement. They're instilling doubt or even uncertainty, and at worst, creating fear. That's absolutely what we don't want from our words. Again, we can't just say things, right? We can't just say something and expect people or think that people are understanding what we're saying. We have to, as the leader, senior managers, the senior leaders, executive leaders, we have to be more mindful of what we're saying, and also mindful of how we're saying it and how what we're saying is shaping our team's performance, shaping the culture, shaping how people act and interact with each other, even your clients, your customers, or your residents, or your citizens, or whoever it is that you're serving. We have to be mindful that we carry that power. We carry that authority just in the way we speak and use our words. So let me read this to you. The weight of the leader's words is determined by their level of authority, influence, and their proximity to the people that they lead. I'll read that again. The weight of the leader's words, as a matter of fact, I want to personalize that for you. The weight of your words as the leader, the senior manager, the executive leader, is determined by your level of influence, your level of authority, and your proximity to the people that you lead and serve. So the higher the level, the greater the impact. Now, I've said that before. The higher the level, the greater the impact. Write that down. The higher the level, the greater the impact. And that's whether you're saying something positive or, God forbid, saying something negative. The weight of your words increases with your position and your influence. So the higher you move up that corporate ladder or that corporate promotional ladder, then the heavier and the more weightier your words, the more crucial it is for you to slow down and to be mindful. Notice how I'm even slowing down. Be mindful of what you're saying and also who you're saying it to. Now, the further the distance is in power, in authority, and even in your influence and relationship with people, then again, the heavier the impact your words are going to be. Period. If you have if there's multiple levels of leadership levels away from the people you're serving, then the weightier, the heavier your words are going to be, and the more cognizant we need to be about what we're saying to them. I'm going to give you some things on how to improve in your communication. But when that happens, we need to become even more intentional in what we're saying and how we're showing up when we're communicating to the people that we're leading and serving. A quick example that I can give you is I remember in school where the teacher would come to me and say, "Hey, Barry, I need to see you after class," right? Now, that didn't happen often. I was not a bad kid at all. But every now and then there would be something I did where the teacher would say, "Barry, I need to see you after class." You know, that carried a lot of weight. It's like, oh my gosh, what does she want to see me for? But if the principal called me and said, "Barry, I need to see you in my office after school," that carried a whole different level of weight, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, wonder, all of these things because, again, of the proximity. It was a further relationship that I had with the principal. And so while I saw the teacher every day, I kind of understood who the teacher was. We had some type of a relationship. I didn't have that close of a relationship. I didn't see the principal every day. Thank God, right? I didn't see the principal. I was not in her office every day. So when she calls me in the office, it's a different feeling. It's a different thought. It's a different fear. And I want you to think about that. It's one thing if the supervisor says, "I want to give you feedback on that project that you just completed," versus the CEO, who's, again, multiple levels higher. It's another thing, the CEO, if she calls a worker and says, "Hey, I want to give you feedback on that project." Think about what the worker is thinking and kind of the fear that is overcoming that particular worker. And if you're that person that's giving feedback, you have to think about, again, proximity. Am I close enough? And to say this, do I have a relationship to where I can say it? And depending on your personality, if you're a direct person, if you're an extrovert and you just say things and you just kind of cut and dry, you don't mince your words. Are we mindful of how our words are going to land with the people that we lead and serve? So I want to give you 7 things to consider before you speak. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about speaking on stage to a crowd or an audience at a conference or you're a keynote speaker. I'm talking specifically about you, the executive leader, the senior leader of your organization, communicating to your team, your directs, and to others within your organization. This is what we're focusing on. So I'm going to give you 7 things to consider before you speak. And once again, my friend, please make sure you are taking copious notes. Number 1, the number 1 question you should ask is, who am I saying it to? Now, I've been saying this all throughout this particular teaching. Consider their position, consider their experience, and consider their relationship to you. Who am I saying it to? So you have to slow down before you speak. You have a meeting, you need to communicate information or maybe a change in the organization. It's major, and I have to get this to them. Who am I saying it to? I'm considering their position, I'm considering their experience, and I'm considering their relationship with me. Number 2, what's the outcome? What's the outcome? That's the second question to consider before you're speaking or before you speak to your team. What is the outcome? Will this conversation make them better? Will it help them do what they need to do more effectively? Or is what I'm going to say going to hinder performance, progress, and change the culture? We don't always think these questions when we say what we're going to say. We just show up and say it. Here's what I need to say. Here's what I need them to do. I'm going to say it. But what is the outcome. What do I want them to leave this meeting being able to do more of that they maybe couldn't do before? Maybe they were unclear or unsure on how to get done before. So what's the outcome? Question number 2, what's the outcome? And will this conversation make them better? Or is it just about me getting it off my chest and sharing it with them? The third question I want you to ask is, what am I saying? So now we've established what the outcome of what I'm trying to say, but what is it I want to say? I kind of want to work backwards, right? Begin with the end in mind, with the outcome, but I want to work backward and say, what is it that I really want to say? What are the key points that I want to make sure I'm communicating? And then write this down next to the question, what am I saying? Is what I'm saying helpful? Is what I'm saying necessary? And is what I'm saying even true? In other words, do I have all of the facts? Have I checked the data? Have I done my research to make sure what I'm trying to deliver to my team, to an individual, is actually necessary, it's true, and it's helpful? Now, the fourth question to consider when you're speaking to your team or an individual on your team is simply asking the question, how am I saying it? Remember, tone and behavior. I don't know all of the percentages of, words are only like 7%. And then there's, I don't know what the percentages are split, but it's really body language and tone that people pick up on and take on more than the words that you're saying. In other words, if I say, if my wife says, "Oh, you don't tell me I love you," you don't tell me you love me enough, whatever. She never has that complaint, by the way. I tell her every day, all day. But if I say, "Gosh, I love you," right? I said, "I love you. I love you." I said it. But my tone and my body language or behavior or my approach is saying something totally different. So the fourth thing that we want to ask ourselves is, how am I saying it? And write this question down. Is my tone and approach aligned with my intent? Is my tone and approach aligned with my intent? Is my tone and approach and my body language aligned with the outcome that I'm hoping for from this particular conversation? And I hope as we're going through these questions, and I'm only at number 4, I hope as we're going through, you're kind of already thinking about a person or a moment that you were communicating with your team where maybe it wasn't received right, or maybe you're considering your communication with shaping the organization's culture and how things get done within your organization. The fifth question to ask is, when am I saying it? When am I saying it? Timing affects how words are received. And folks, I have to be very transparent and vulnerable and tell you that I am so guilty of this. Now, I'm getting better. I have a son that plays basketball. He's a very good basketball player. He's in 11th grade, hoping that he gets that D1 scholarship. But there have been games in the past that he did not perform well. And we would drive an hour out, and we'd have to pay money to get in, and money for shoes and uniforms to be on the team, all this good stuff that we're paying for, right? So I expect you to have a good game. And so, we would drive an hour out to the gym, and then we'd have an hour drive back. And so my son literally, this does not happen anymore. Please understand, I've grown and I've matured. I'm learning the weight of dad's words, right? And it's something that I'm applying to my life too. But, when am I saying it? Here's the question. Did my son really need to hear that right then? After he had a bad game? After he had a game that he already knew he did not show up well in or perform well in? And here comes dad with the weight of my words. And I hope you're not just looking at me and jeering and pointing fingers at me. I hope you're thinking about that scenario where that happened, where someone didn't complete a project the way you wanted it to be completed, or in the manner it should have been done, or maybe they didn't do something the way you would have done it. They had a different grace. They didn't do it up to your expectation. How did you come to them when you were telling them that you were dissatisfied with their performance or with an outcome, or they didn't get it done in the way you wanted it to be? When did you do that? Did you do it right after that they made a mistake? Or did you give them that space to kind of look and say, you know what? I don't think this is the way it should be done. I mean, think about my son. I think he knew he didn't have a great game. He checked the stats. His team knew. He knew his team knew. He knew his coaches knew. He knew everybody in the stands who knows he can play basketball. That everybody knew he didn't have a great game. So why would I do that right then in that moment? It's bad. Just all I have to say is that's bad. Don't do that to your team. That's all I have to say. The sixth thing to consider when you speak to your team is, am I the right person to say it? Am I the right person to say it? Or should someone else deliver the message? Now, in our family, one thing that my wife and I are learning is that she's more of the grace and I am more of the law. Now, I have some grace, she has some law, but overall, she's the grace, she's mom, and I'm the law, I'm dad. And we're really learning that, hey, she'll say, Barry, I don't think you need to go talk to daughter right now. Let me talk to her. She needs more grace. And there are other times she says to me, hey, you need to talk to the boys. Yeah, they need the law. They don't need any grace. You need to go talk to them. Or she'll say, let me talk to them. And I'll say that, hey, honey, let me have the conversation with them. So we're learning who needs to say such and such in the right time. And think about that with your team as well. Maybe it doesn't need to be you. Again, remember, you might be generations removed in terms of leadership generations and levels of staff removed from them, staff levels rather removed from them. So maybe you don't need to deliver that weight. Again, you're the CEO and you need to give feedback. Maybe they have a regional manager or they have a supervisor, someone a little closer in to their day-to-day work and performance that can say it for you. Now, I want to kind of have a full stop here because there are going to be times where you're going to miss it. Just be okay with that. You're going to miss it. You're not going to always get it right. But it's a learning lesson. And then come back to these points that we're talking about. We've only covered 6, have one more to go. Come back to these points again and then consider. So number 7, does it even need to be said? It's a question you have to ask yourself. Does it need to be said? I mean, will they get it? It's kind of like, again, when to say it. My son had a bad game. Do I need to say he had a bad game? Do I need to tell him how bad he played? Probably not. So I want to close with this, and I want to read this here. People don't just hear your words, they carry them. And so your words can become the inner voice for someone for years to come. Don't ever forget that. And so will your words be a voice of belief and possibility, or ones that echoes doubt and discouragement? The final question I'm going to ask that you would consider is, if the words that I say today were the last that a person would hear, what would they remember about me? And what would they remember about our conversation? Would they be better because of what I said to them? My friend, I hope you got something out of today's teaching. Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership Class coaching session. I can't wait to see you in the next video. My name is Barry E. Knight, and my calling and purpose is to help you succeed in yours. 2 fingers. Have a good one.